Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time. It's time for the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. That's right. Come on. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Caca.
You know what? I think you said something. I don't know what it is, but you said something.
Hey, you guys. Well, you know, I just tell you guys, some days the news is, Lauryn Hill goes to jail for 3 months.
Yeah.
You know what, you guys? I'm kind of pissed off by this because I think the real reason that it's happening to Lauryn Hill is because she has true organic mental disease, and so she's making bad decisions. So to me, they're punishing her when she's not totally capable of having made those decisions in a rational way, Vic. In other words, to me, she should not be going to jail. She should be going to therapy and be under that kind of thing. And I just feel really upset that this is happening to her because it's all caused by her disease. It's known that she has disease. We don't even have to go all into that. And when you have those types and levels of disease, Vic, how do they hold you accountable for paying taxes? When she talks about the whole conspiracy, it all reeks of, even though I have my own issues with the IRS, but she still has the whole, obviously there's some organic, like I said, when I say organic, I mean stuff that requires medication. It's within the system now. Yeah,
you remind me of the thing that say the trickle down is when the health care is not there to take care of those. In lieu of situations like that, the trickle down and domino theory applies. In other words, the system is saying, well, she got people around her, help her, because we're not.
And this is what happened. What if the people around you are not competent for one reason or another, their own health reasons or whatever?
I agree.
Because, and Vic knows personally, you know, when you have to step in and be a caretaker, what if they don't have someone like you, Vic? What if they don't have someone around there to help them with those things? See, this is where I really always feel bad for them.
Right, and I think the part that came here, Mario, I think she got prejudged because, as people do, when you're an entertainer, you know what first thing they think? You got money. You got some money, right? It's this first thing.
Do something, and that has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
And no matter how much money you have, when you are affected by this type of disease, this is an equalizer.
True.
And y'all, you could say my prayers go for you. That's not fair to me.
Yeah, I know.
That's not right.
No, they want. You know what they want?
That's not right.
Let me say what it really is. Could she have gone through this quietly without being in the media? And
she's Lauryn Hill,
right? So the sensationalism on it amps it up. And now you got people who say I'm not Lauryn Hill, and I don't have people coming to voice.
Well, there's other people that we see that have obvious illness. Right. Amanda Bynes.
Yes.
They have issues. They need, and whatever. It's serious. You can make jokes about it, but it's serious in the sense that they need help. And then I just feel it's extremely. I don't know what you get out of any of us get out of sending Lauryn Hill to jail.
All it takes is
I don't know what any of.
All it takes is somebody's going like in the IRS office coming in and says, we're assigning the account to you, Mr. Allen. It's Lauryn Hill, and you're going, I need to make my pay grade. I'm going to run you guys out.
Pissing me off.
People approach things as just will make my day, my name. I will get raises. I will get promotions. That's what you deal with.
That's what it is. That's because, they're going to say, I want to be known. It'll be on my resume. I took down Lauryn Hill.
Right.
Yeah. Little ill boogie.
Ill boogie. That's all.
Oh, man. Okay, let's go on. Okay, you guys. Plane crash in San Francisco. Man, it looks like pilot error, they're saying.
That's so.
Came in too low, hit a wall.
Have you seen the video?
Well, I was going to show the video.
I mean, you get to see it. You know what's even better?
What?
Listening to the guy who's one of the survivors who fortunate to be at his complex talking about this is what happened while he's on the plane. When you go through it. And he says, everything
out there.
It's out there. The hard part about
yes, this is a young passenger.
Well, it's an Asian passenger. He's not young, so they got different clips.
With a boy who was on the plane, and we want
to
hear
that's
what
a different
he
one.
had to say.
Okay.
The plane went tilted up and down, and then it flipped or something like that. I'm not sure. And then it hit the ground, and then So,
And what happened? Were people injured? What happened next?
the top just totally collapsed on a lot of people, so a lot of people were injured there.
Okay. And
I was sitting next to like this big hole.
Excuse me, were you on the plane?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Just talk here for one moment. Talk here for 1 minute.
Well, they don't want somebody gonna
Police
sue.
pulling that young man away.
Yeah, because you got to get your
From speaking to the media at this point.
negotiate your funds.
Right.
Everybody got to get their funds, you know.
Yeah, no, it's you know, the guy that's shooting it, the one who actually shot, he says, "I'm shooting the plane. Here it
We
is."
just obtained this exclusive new
And this
video
is the one you're
from
gonna
a
see.
gentleman named Fred Hayes. He apparently is an aviation buff. He had gone to a place where you could see these planes taking off and landing, and he was able to capture the crash on video. Let's play that for you right now.
Look at him.
Ooh, that's low.
Yeah.
There's another plane.
Yes,
Look at
taxi.
that one. Look how his nose is up in the air. Oh my God! Oh, it's an accident.
Oh, you're filming it too.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Oh.
no.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, you're filming it.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my!
You filmed the whole thing.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
You know what? I was about to say, "Oh my God," too. All you
That
can
is
say
pretty
is, "Oh my
dramatic
God."
stuff, Frederica. When you look at
Wow.
that video, and I've had a chance to
Wow.
Yeah, it's you know,
Wow, Vic.
when they
Wow.
since they already admitted that the guy who was flying it was going training, and he's flown 747s, but a cruiser liner, I guess, and I may be wrong on this, so I apologize. The 777, somebody talked about as a pilot and says it's totally different. You just can't go from 747 into a 777, and also very apparent. Speed was under the speed that they were supposed to be traveling at. They reported at 137 knots, actually way slower than that. So by the time people they have 4 seconds. They have 4 seconds to make an adjustment. By the time then, people couldn't even prepare themselves. So, you know, it's one of those things where it won't
Luckily,
be.
only 2 died. Luckily, only 2.
Well, yeah, and here's the other part. One of them, they think right now, it may have died because of the fire truck.
Ran over.
Yeah, may have. And the guy who got out,
It is a comedy of errors sometimes.
one guy got out. He says, "I just got out the back where the tail disappeared." So it's a lot. It's a lot. They are blessed now. Compared to that train accident, I looked at every angle. I went Google Maps. I looked at the train tracks. This is in Quebec, Canada, outside of Montreal. When I looked at that, 1 o'clock in the morning, somebody between the firefighters, they're debating who, they leave the brakes on because one of the locomotives was on fire. And they have to leave the brakes on. The pressure allows the train not to move. Somewhere between that, they're saying somebody lifted brake release. And somebody described saying, "I heard a rumbling." It's a downhill slope. Went straight into the bar with people. Okay.
Here's the video. Vic asked me to look up something. I did find something in RT. Here we go.
That's ridiculous.
Hey, look at that bird.
The guy who owns the bar left 25 minutes earlier to go relieve the babysitter who was babysitting his child. But unfortunately, the mother, I think, of the babysitter was at that location.
Oh, no.
So it's a lot of stories to this.
Oh, no.
They're not going to find people. I mean, when you have to go read the details of how. Imagine this, man. You're talking about a train coming with 73 cars. 5 of them explode. And then even if they didn't explode, what they did in just the devastation of it all. And you're sitting at a bar at Saturday night at 1 a.m. Are you thinking about a train that may plow into the building you're in?
Building.
No, you're not thinking about it. I keep watching and going to look at it. It's ridiculous. I looked at the angle to see It could have picked any place to jump off the tracks. So that means it came downhill, gaining speed with no brakes. My prayers go out to the family, friends. They're not going to find the 40-plus bodies because of that inferno. So I can't even imagine. All I'm saying is my heart goes out to the family and friends. This is going to be one of those where the language of the firefighters, they're already wedging that the position. They're positioning themselves that says, we just put out the fire. That's what they're doing. So you already see what's happening here. This is human error.
Wow. Okay. One other video we wanted to show you was, again, a look at what's going on in Egypt. For those of you who don't know, they had an election. There were some issues, of course, with the election, people saying it fixed this or that. But the supposedly democratic, they say democratically elected, I say supposedly, allegedly democratically elected, which I doubt, President Mohamed Morsi was stripped of his power because his election led to civil unrest. So I don't have a position in this right now because I'm not there's a lot of different components. And you need to understand the full underworkings of the culture.
That's right.
And the way these revolutions are sparked, because they're all, even though they all share, they all are affected by the culture under which they occur.
They're ongoing.
Right, they're ongoing because, remember, this also at the same time, having these types of uprisings and then having women play a different role, again, causes another cultural confrontation, which is within each different segment.
Right.
So there's all these different overlays, but let's just say there's a lot of unrest going on in Egypt. The military stepped in and removed Morsi from power and then placed another person, I guess. But anyway, here's a look. I want you to see really the spectacle. Again, courtesy of RT.com. Take a look. Take a look, because whatever it is, see, what my saying is, whatever it is, you recognize the power. You know, we don't have, some things speak for themselves. We may not understand all the intertwinings and all that. And, is that a word? We don't understand all those things. But, okay, look at that move. He's got the great move. But we can at least understand by seeing and feeling that a movement is occurring. And then that'll give us the impetus to have understanding later. Well, right? Because I don't have full understanding. I can't pretend to have full understanding yet.
Nobody even in this country understands what a revolution is like. It's like saying you experienced the American Revolution. If you wasn't there, you can only read about it. You can only have the historical reference to it. But we don't know what that feels like. So I wouldn't even hesitate. I'm not going to even laugh because this is their independence.
Again, and on a lot of levels, but then this type of thing affects also the cultural positions and relationships within their own, you know, like the men and women, as roles change and are affected, as it has been in every country as we have moved forward. Women naturally seek their own self-realization. They have their own goals, as we would want. Now we recognize, and most of us here, well, not most, many of us support that in there. One thing, I want to treat you as an equal, because I'm going to treat you as an equal anyway. That's part of the issue with me.
Right.
They don't want me to treat them as equal.
Right.
They're like, Marl, you know, I like the old school. I go, no, it's the new school. You free. You equal. But I don't really want to be equal. Well, I'm still going to pay.
You know, it's always about control. At the end of the day, if the country works out to be better, being a democratic society, it'll be the argument of who's controlling those opportunities and those freedoms.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah, we need to
now
appreciate their moment.
The other thing, and thank you again, RT.com. One of the other issues that you're going to hear us reporting on more in the future, this whole issue of force feeding. Guantanamo prisoners, 98% are felt to have provided no information and have no linkage. 98% of the people. The reason why they won't let you go, because their studies also say if you snatch somebody off the streets and lock him up for a while, guess what? If he wasn't a terrorist when he went in, he's a terrorist when he comes out.
Right.
Just like any of us would be if you did that to us. So this whole issue, so a bunch of them have been on hunger strikes, so now they're force feeding them, which then really involves putting down a feeding tube. Usually it's done through the nose, so people can fight by clenching their teeth. So it's shoved down, and for those who know anything about health care, it can be really ugly and nasty. People usually bleed and gag and vomit, even then when you get it in place.
Right.
And this is for people where you're doing it for medical reasons. It's an extremely unpleasant thing to go through.
Yeah.
And I know personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, more than you would ever know. Okay. But it's extremely so. And this whole issue of of whether or not this is, again, remember, the U.S. is excluded. When we set up the international tribunals to judge war crimes, we specifically put in there that we're excluded. You know that.
Right. As any power in control.
So we set up the war crimes setup to try other people, but we're excluded from ever being reviewed. So and so a lot of these things that they do actually go against the Geneva Conventions that were used in the previous world wars that we're doing. So it's a lot of ways. This again is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
It's a true embarrassment that we would do this to people.
Yeah.
And I'm again ashamed. And I look at the administration. I told you that the Obama administration has outspent, almost doubled what George Bush spent in his attack on medical marijuana.
And the next,
even though he pledged that he would do nothing.
The next president will spend more. It always increases, right?
And they and then look at your own rights. Again, the current administration is giving up more of your rights. So again, that's part of what we're talking about. Now, the last issue of the day, and what we'll cover up, we'll really follow more later, Vic, is the whole idea of the new millennials. For those of you who watched 60 Minutes last night, the topic was all about the new millennials. That means the young folks that are coming up different and they're changing value. Now, Mac, you may find this all interesting. For one, there's a bunch of new studies that actually are looking at this. Why? Because they're going to make up about 25% of the workforce, I think, coming even in now. And in the future, they're going to be the majority of the workforce. And they have distinctly different attitudes. And it's amazing what's happening. Let me give you an example. For one, they are quitting jobs.
Right.
Stigmas they feel about, like you should heard the quotes. One of the young folks will say, "Yeah, you're supposed to. If you have 4 different jobs in a year, there's nothing wrong with that. That means you're trying to move forward in life and find that things that work for you." Okay, so the employers don't know how to deal with it. They've been approaching it in 2 ways. Besides firing, really 3 ways. Besides firing, a lot of them have a lot of turnover. Plus, they quit.
Right.
They've also had seminars on how to teach the old guard to deal with them, because they come from a group that expect to always be rewarded, and also be told that they did a good job even when they just perform their regular daily duties, because that's what their parents always did for them. Remember, they were told, "You're a winner, you're a winner, you're a winner. No one ever loses." Just like when they would have the classes where no one fails. So you have a big track meet, but everybody gets a medal. Not the fastest.
True.
Okay, so you have a big other academic competition, and everybody gets a medal, even the people who don't do well.
I think the part that's going to come in on this is that children, it's like children who say, never have the parents have an argument and then try to pretend like they're not having one. The children always recognizes the game. The second part to this, that's my crazy example, is that there are children who are saying, "You spent how many years with that company and they fired you?"
Well, that's
think about the economics of this.
Values.
They're going like this. You just fired. My parents are fired from spending all their time going the hoorah parade, and they're gone. What example are the kids now seeing? Says, wait a minute.
Exactly, Vic.
I'm going like this. Oh, so I'm no different than I was 6 months ago. 6 months in. So 25 years in doesn't give me anything, depending on the industry.
Well, there you go.
And how well up the ladder you. There are certain places you get over a certain income. You treat it a little bit different.
Well, watching this questions, and the studies are all showing this. For one, they don't attach any stigma to living at home with their parents at age 26. In fact, the males and females are going, oh, no, it's really a smart move to live at home with your parents. You can save money while you figure out what you want to do.
Which is not
It's really a smart thing to do.
Yeah, right.
It was funny. It was funny.
It is.
I get it. In a lot of ways, I approach because I was a rebel in my group.
I was too.
I was a rebel. I didn't do the traditional things, and I approached my employment that way. But my goal was to be the most skilled, and therefore that allowed me to have a lifestyle where I could dictate my hours. And out of that, I learned to work, three days a week essentially.
You outgrow your parents' time. And PMC, I see you. You said, you went through that. Your kids feel the same way. Loyalty didn't mean shit.
Oh, you shouldn't. And here's the thing.
That's what they're dealing with.
Totally. You should never, everybody out there, you should never feel any loyalty to any corporation anywhere. And even though people are not going to like this, I think you have to be really careful about patriotism, because if you have a loyalty to God, I always tell them, I pledge my allegiance to God.
Right.
I'm a citizen of that universe.
Right.
Because getting you to love trees on that kind of way always leads to oppression. Always leads to some kind of oppression. You have to be very wary of having those kinds of things. Remember, imagine there's no country. See, it shouldn't hurt you more that the kid starving is next door or in Africa if they're supposed to all feel like our children to you. And if they don't, then recognize where your biases are. That whole us-them thing.
Right.
What is that? Because they go with that. And I think you have to be very careful about things like patriotism. Again, if you pledge your allegiance, I pledge my allegiance to God, then the whole nationalism is not so necessary.
Well, the part I like is when you call me family, I have no problem with it. And it's not realistic. It's not going to be realistic because people are competitive. The companies are competitive against other companies, not as much as they're not wanting to give people secure jobs. Well, if I'm going to be family, just give me the stock when you hire me. Just put me in there in that same line, and then I'll be family. So even when I leave, I have something that's constantly filtering a profit. But to tell me in a speech to appreciate my job is to me be complacent. Now, yes, but a lot of people do work because they are experienced. And a lot of people do work because they say they need to have a job. And a lot of people do work because they have to be providers. I do work because I passionately love what I do. And if I'm not afforded that opportunity to do it, then it's either my fault that I didn't educate myself, get the experience, deliver, et cetera, et cetera. But once I get in that lane, then I say, I want all the freedoms and equals. Well, wait a minute. Well, we like your passion, but you're not at this grade. So guess what? We got to lay you off. That's how it goes.
That is how it goes. And so there's a lot of things about the new millennials that I think a lot of us in this group, we're biased toward.
Right.
Because politically we fall there because of our experiences. Like PMC, he knows about misplaced loyalties toward companies and corporations. You should never do that.
Right.
And that's why they're designed. Corporations they're godless, amoral things.
Right.
And I always treat them like they're trying to devour you.
Right. Now, unless you want to be like that old movie Tom Cruise in The Firm, well, he was making big cheese. It's a matter of him sitting up here going, I'm greedier than you guys. And they said, you're not as greedy as we are. We're much greedier than you are. Okay.
Remember, they conspired to sell you water and electricity where Tesla was trying to give it to you free.
That's right. I know.
Remember that. So when you study the history of these commodities, you find some amazing stuff. Everybody, that's been the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Yeah. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit. And caca, español. Caca. Remember,